Yo, what up, though? What's going on, people? I want to welcome everyone back to Real Sports Talk, New York's new number one sports talk show. We are the voice of the streets. It's your boy Cash flying solo today. No co-pilot. Shout out to my man Q. Shout out to my man Jay. If you ain't catch this week's episode, got a lot of good Giants content. So go out, go to the channel and check that out. Man, but today I just feel like talking about the Knicks, man. I'm in a Knicks mood, man. I'm in the New York Knicks mood. We've been suffering for so long. I'm starting to get itchy, y'all. I'm feeling like I want to jump out the window, man. But the difference is, in years past, I'm always, the Knicks were gonna be good. In years past, it's just pure fandom and homerism and hope and just not always based on logic. It's more based on emotion at times. You know what I mean? Then I start to, ground myself and let the logic set in. But the Knicks this year, man, it could be Knicks in 26, man. I'm really, I'm trying to stay logical, but it's really hard right now. We have a very, very, very good team. Tell me what y'all think. Put it down in the comments, man. I know there's going to be haters. Oh, the Knicks are never going to win anything. You can't, even if they get out of the East, they can't beat the Thunder. They can't beat the. Stop all that, man. They can't beat the healthy Dallas. They can't beat Minnesota. I don't even think they can beat Denver. Knock it off, man. They didn't even beat the Celtics last year. I don't even know whose voice that is, but that's how y'all sound in my head. Goofy. They didn't even beat the Celtics. Tatum got hurt. Nah, buddy. We was cooking the Celtics. Then Tatum got hurt. They almost lost to Detroit. Yeah. Tough fourth series, the type of series you learn from. Detroit's going to be better. We'll talk about that in a minute. We'll definitely talk about that out in a minute. But it's the Pat. Listen, I'm here to ask y'all, me and you, we just rapping, right? Is the path clear for the Knicks? It looks like it is, man. I like what Mike Brown is doing, right? 2-time coach of the year. Been around the league. Right? Coached under Pop as an assistant. Coached under Steve Kerr. Man knows how to coach. Like the play, the plays and the concepts he's installing with this team on both sides of the ball. I know it's only talk right now. We saw a couple of preseason games, and you saw to see those things unfold and them, trying to work some of the stuff in and gel and everything. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take, maybe I'll say 20 to 25 games, maybe, to where you really see everything. They have the playbook down, and I think Brunson talked about it, how it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get totally used to it. It's a new system, new coach, new philosophy, new culture, the whole bit. But yeah, I like Pop, man. I like Pop I like Brown, man. Started off as a defensive guy and kind of morphed into an offensive guy, but he can coach both sides of the ball, and he has some really good assistants. I like that 5. Tibbs talked about the 5 out, but Brown is really trying to run that 5 out spread offense where you pace. He talked about pace with cadence, and you race up to the court and you disperse to the corners for the open 3, the spray 3, right? Which he said he wants Brunson to try to do. And I didn't really see too much of that because it kind of sounded like he wanted Brunson to be a catch and shoot kind of guy. And people were alluding to, Steph Curry and how Steph Curry does that, and certain players coming off pick and rolls and catch and shoot guys. I don't know. Definitely didn't see that today, but like I said, you got to give him more time. But I did see Brunson moving at the ball a lot more, especially on breaks, especially on certain half-court sets, getting backdoor looks, go-ahead passes, him leaking out a little bit at times. So I like that. But we'll see. I like what Cat's doing. Listen, you had to play a lot of guys, so he's just kind of mixing and matching lineups, kind of seeing what guys have, some of the new guys, some of the younger guys. He knows what his starters are going to do. He just has to worry about pairing the right chemistry with these guys. But He also wants to see what some of these young guys are gonna do. Some of these rooks, some of these second year guys. But listen, as a Knicks fan, I'm excited. I'm excited. So I figured let me get online and rap to y'all. Nothing really structured, just chopping it up, man. We made it to the conference finals last year, right? I was ecstatic for the first time in 20 something years, right? Whatever it was, 99 was it the first time? Maybe 2000, 2001, whatever it was. It's been a long fucking time. 20, 25 years. Be the tough Pistons team, right? Bust y'all Celtics ass up there in Boston. And the Yankees just bust y'all ass too. Shout out to the Yankees. They fall short to the Pacers, who I thought I thought we should have beat the Pacers last year. And I'm just recapping. Thought we should have beat the Pacers last year, but we know what happened with that. We know it was shout out to Tibbs, but that lack of bench play and lack of willingness to play the bench and develop young guys and be able to go 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 deep in the playoffs. This isn't 90s, 2000s, even 2010s where you got to short your rotation in the playoffs. Everybody's opening up the rotation to keep fresh bodies in there. But anyway, Tibbs is gone, Brown in, Knicks in 26. That's the slogan, right? Knicks in 26. Everyone's saying, "Oh, they're definitely coming out the East." I think they are, right? Let's think about what the East has done. The major teams in the East, right? Major teams in the Eastern Conference. What are their offseason moves, right? Atlanta, Kristaps Porzingis, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Yeah, they got a little bit better. Go along with Trey and those guys, and yeah, they got better. I like that. I don't think that's. I'm not. That doesn't scare me right now. 25, 26. Magic, Desmond Bain to go along with Paolo. Desmond is a dog. Paolo's a dog. The Wagner brothers are dogs. Suggs will be back. He's a dog. So I kind of like Orlando. I'm kind of liking what they're doing. They haven't been together long enough. They're not as experienced enough. But Apollo got that new deal down there, and I think you got to keep your eye on Orlando for the future. But I don't think the future is this year. That's just me, right? The Pistons, shit. Pistons gave us all we can handle, man. They said 90s, smash mouth, beat down basketball, no problem. I'll see you that, and I'll raise you. Pistons, bigger staff. He had them kids playing, man. He had them kids playing, man. They went out and go get Caris LeVert, who I love. Always been a big Caris guy since he was on the Nets, Cleveland. He's a good scorer. He's a good hooper. He's an asset to that team. Duncan Robinson as well. From the Heat. Duncan's a shooter. Can score a little bit to go along with Cade's Amon Ra, those guys. Or Saw. I always get those two confused. Saw, right? Yeah, Saw. Or Amon Ra. One of them. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the Celtics, they're in disarray, right? They don't really get better. They get worse, right? Lose Drew Holiday to Portland. He goes back to to Portland. Like I said, Porzingis leaves. Tatum's down. So I think Luke Cornett took off, right? He's gone. So they're retooling. They still have two cornerstone pieces in Brown and Tatum. Even though Tatum's out, he'll be back with all the advancement in medicine with that Achilles. He'll be back. I don't think it'll be definitely not this year. And even the next year, I don't think he'll be the same Tatum. I think probably the end of that next year and the year after, the Achilles takes a while, see what happened with Aaron Rodgers, see what happened with Kevin Durant. Takes a minute, but I do think at some point he'll be back. But that's a big piece to lose. So they're in the middle of retooling, right? They're sitting this year out, put it like that. The Bucks, they lose Miles Turner. He goes over. The Pacers, they lose Miles Turner. Holly Berry's down with the Achilles, so that's a huge hit. I wanted to see them again because I wanted to, put the beats on them, but that's a huge hit. Same thing with Holly Berry in terms of what I just said about Tatum. Give him about a year and a half, you'll see him back. As much as I can't stand him, in basketball context, You never want to see anyone get hurt. Bucks get Miles Turner, but they lose Dame. You know, they got Porter's over there. Kevin Porter Jr. They got some pieces over there. Nothing, nothing crazy. Nothing crazy at all, in my opinion. Cole Anthony. They got some good pieces, but the Bucks again, like the Celtics, they're gonna sit this year out. They're not making any noise. Doc is shout out to Doc, but Doc is a mess at times. So like I said, the East Coast, um, it's wide open. Pause. We saw the training camp get underway. We saw how Mike Brown is running these guys. These guys going to be in phenomenal shape. He's running them on both ends of the court. The spread offense, like I said, spray threes from the corner. If these guys can stay healthy, right, and if they run on offense and defense, and they're conditioned and to go along with some of these guys we bring in from Jordan Clarkson to Brogdon to Yabusele to Deuce coming off the bench. I know Josh Hart is down with the back thing and he's nursing the finger thing, and even though OG played today, he's nursing a little bit of injuries and shit. Even though he played decent today. But it's gonna be serious, man. And I like the fact that they got him running on both sides of the defense. I mean, both sides of the ball. So I'm very excited, man. Mitch is coming, ramped up, revved up, mid-season form. That's gonna be crazy if Mitch can stay healthy from the jump. And they said don't play him on back-to-backs. I agree. Don't play Mitch on back-to-backs. Let's keep Mitch fresh. Let's get a number. Let's get a pitch count on Mitch. You know what I'm saying? Get a pitch count on Mitch. He's an offensive rebounding machine. He's an offensive rebound. Just a devastating rebounder, a shot alterer, a shot blocker. He looks in shape this year. He's the key to the Knicks. I've always said this. As much as I loved what's my man who went to Isaiah Hartenstein? As much as I loved Isaiah Hartenstein, and they was like, should we keep Hartenstein? Should we keep Mitch? I've always said Mitch. If Mitch is healthy, you gotta keep Mitch. Because and Harden, shout out to him. He got his chip over there, and I'm happy for him because I know he had to go due to the salary cap, apron shit that I hate to even talk about. But it did create parity in the league. But he went over there. You saw him getting cooked by Embiid. He was just too small for certain big men. Just for certain big men. But he's a competitor. He's a tough guy. I like Hartenstein. Shout out to Hartenstein. Shout out to him, man. Dude, just watching these guys get up and down the court is amazing. So, I'm here to tell you, without saying I'm going to jump out the window, get ready to crack that window because we jumping out. But still, let me be quite grounded for a second, right? There are a lot of question marks, right? I'm still, when we talked about it a couple of seconds ago, Brunson's new role. Who's going to be the fifth starter? It looks like now it could be Mitch. I don't know. Definitely since Josh is banged up, but there was a question about that in the beginning. How will Mikal Bridges be utilized? Right. There's a lot of questions, but the Brunson question is can Brunson, and I know he can, but is it going to feel uncomfortable for him? Because he's used to having the ball in his hands, right? Dribble, coming down, dribbling, double team, passing out the double team, or going one-on-one. Or Brunson's a rhythm kind of guy, right? There's players that can just catch and shoot, and then there's players who shoot off the dribble. I feel like Brunson is a guy who shoots off the dribble, so that's going to be very interesting to see if he could become a catch and shoot guy or a guy who moves without the ball more often than he does. Because what did Brown say? He wants him for the first couple of quarters, first 3 quarters or 2.5 quarters, whatever he said, to move without the ball, spot up, catch and shoot, spray three is what he said, right? And then in the fourth quarter, you put the ball in his hands and let Brunson do what he does. It's going to be interesting to see if he could, I don't want to say change his game, but alter his game. So I'm interested to see. I know he's a dog. I know he's a competitor. He's one of those guys that's gonna do whatever the coach asks. But just him functioning, like, is that gonna throw his rhythm off? We'll see. Maybe he's been working on that all summer. Who knows? You know. Uh, 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 Deuce. I like what I've been seeing out of Deuce. There's so many interchangeable parts. I saw today Clarkson come in right on the break, threw a alley oop to Mitch, a lob to Mitch, and I don't think Mitch got the dunk. I forgot what happened, but just seeing these guys on the break look for Mitch on these oops is crazy. Something they haven't been done for a while. Something Brunson and Mitch haven't been able to connect on. But you're seeing the transition. It's almost like you're almost seeing like a Lob City almost form, right? Fast, get out on the break, boom, leak outs, boom, fast break it down, lob, fast break one to the corners, drive to the paint, clutter the paint, right? Kick out, boom, corner three. You're seeing that type of shit. To be primitive about it, to be not to be in depth. You're seeing that type of shit. And Clarkson, man, Clarkson, I'm seeing him today. Bop, 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 bop. Just getting busy with the pill. Crossover behind the back. Step back. Boom, boom, boom. We needed that off the bench, man. We needed that off the bench. You know, he's got to be able to be under control. But Clarkson is the type of guy, and he talked about this too. He said he always thinks he's going in. He always wants to shoot. But he did talk about playing under the system, and I like that because these guys are here and they know and they look around and they see all this talent and they see this two-time coach of the year guy, and even and they say we can win a championship. We might have to sacrifice a little bit, right? Some people's numbers are going to go down. Some people's minutes are going to go down. Scoring, maybe assists, maybe whatever. But it's all for the common goal of a championship. I think these guys have bought in. I think they believe. But Clarkson off the bench is a godsend. Same with Brogdon. Brogdon doesn't. He hasn't gotten a whole lot of time and he hasn't done a whole lot on the court. But he does look spry. He looks healthy. Yabusele as well. So guys like Brogdon, Yabusele, Deuce, Clarkson, these guys are going to be able to come off the bench and get buckets and create their own shots and get buckets. Something we've been starving for so long. Watching Mike Brown the other day, these last two games in Abu Dhabi. I don't care that the Knicks won. I didn't care if they lose. It was more of let's get acquainted with each other. Now we're in a real NBA game. It's not summer league. It's not scrimmaging and shirts versus skins in our practice up in Sunny Purchase or wherever the hell they play now. Practice. It's this real NBA game, refs, live action. Now you're not all coaches are not showing their playbooks, but it's it's live action. You know what I mean? So that's what that was for. That's what they're all getting to know each other. And like I said earlier, you're not going to see it unfold and gel right away, but you do see they're definitely running the ball, and just looking at Mitch, man. And I know I'm all over the place, but I'm just so excited. Just looking at Mitch. Mitch draws people to him, right? On the offensive side of the ball, coaches don't want him to be able to get offensive putbacks and offensive rebounds and push the clock back to 14 seconds or a new shot clock, whatever they want. So they're going to put extra bodies on him. And normally, right, if you don't have to put extra bodies on Mitch, you have guys who's playing out that can leak out, leading to fast breaks. So his offense is defense by default. Do you understand? Does that make sense? You're putting more bodies. You have more body. You have more bodies banging down low. You don't have guys at the top of the key who are ready to leak out on breaks. That's defense within itself. It's amazing, man. Just watching Mitch today, I was like, he's such an integral part. Mikel, I worry about Mikel, man. Mikel looked a little bit frustrated today. But I'm not really worried about him. But he looked a little frustrated today. But he had the kind of sacrifice last year because there are some nights now Mikel could be the fourth option, fifth if you got a guy like Clarkson going or Deuce might be going that night if he's hot. You're looking at Brunson, Cat, maybe him, maybe OG if OG has it going. So and I know he's an important part. He's a wing guy. He's a defensive guy, but he also can hoop. And so I'm. It's going to be so interesting how Mike Brown is going to keep all these guys happy, motivated. Well, not motivated, because you should be motivated. One, being an NBA player, but two, you have a chance to win a championship. You should be motivated. But it's going to be interesting to see how he can keep Mikal Bridges inspired. So it's just refreshing to see the depth, man. You see teams like, obviously Indiana. One of the ways they beat is, other than that Tibbs antiquated offense, and I'm not here to shit on Tibbs because I like Tibbs. I think Tibbs turned this franchise around. Tibbs is good for that, to come in, exterminate the old rotten culture, turn the culture around, bring in, core guys, defensive mind state. Even though last year they weren't really good on defense, but the year before, Tibbs normally is a defensive minded guy, but a guy to change the culture and have the franchise to start going upwards. But then there's a ceiling he can't seem to break through. So it's cool. So let's see if Mike Brown can break through that ceiling. But I just am ecstatic and elated, whatever superlative or adjective you can think of, to see them be able to go this deep. Pause, because like I said, Indiana, that's one of the reasons why they beat us last year. They just had fresher bodies. Break, up and down the court, playing at a furious pace. And when those guys get tired, boom, subbing the other guys, subbing the next 5 guys. We saw OKC, same philosophy. This isn't 2010, like I said, we have 7-8 rotation. This is the new NBA. And if you're gonna be what Mike Brown wants to be, run an offense, run back on defense, transition defense, something the Knicks weren't great at last year. You're going to have 2 things, conditioning and fresh bodies, and we got both of those. Now we got to see how it all gels, right? How it all gels, right? So, Knicks in 26, my brothers. Knicks in 26. Yeah. See, I love Brunson. I don't like the man bun Brunson, and there's no disrespect. I like when the braids is out and they're flying around. Even in the game 2K, you see him running around, you see his braids behind him. That has really nothing to do with anything, but let Brunson, no man bun, buddy. Let's just get it popping. And shout out to you. I think ESPN had him as the 10th best player in the NBA, 10th rated player in the NBA. The reigning clutch player of the year. All-star. He's been in the MVP votes the last couple of years. So let's see if Brunson can elevate his game by being fresher, not as worn down, right? We know he's incredible. We saw the last shot against Detroit. We saw all the moments against the Hawks, the Heat, you name it. We know what he can do. Let's see if he can do it, adjust his style, and impact the game the same way. It's going to be fascinating to see. Who's going to have that 5th starter spot? We're going to find out. Time will tell. But that's a good problem to fucking have, right? It's a great problem to fucking have, honestly. So, listen, I just wanted to tap in real fast. I don't want to take too much of your time. I got my little drink. But I'm very optimistic. Knicks in 26. Knicks in 26. Knicks in 26. You know what? Matter of fact, let's do this. Do I still got this somewhere? Let's go old school. Here we go.
We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks.
Fuck the Celtics.
Go New York, go.
Fuck Cleveland.
Go New York, go. Say go New York.
Fuck Orlando.
Go New York, go New York, go. Well, just like that. Look who's
Fuck
back
the
in
Hawks,
mix.
Trae Young.
New York City is the red hot Knicks, and nothing's gonna stop.
I'm rolling dice on mid-court this year, man.
Heat or even Indiana, it's the Knicks. Back on pace.
Try to do that, and then you have to tell you, I'm hitting with the people's elbow.
We are the New York
You know what I'm saying?
Knicks.
Bring it
We are
back
the
now.
New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. We are the New York Knicks. Say go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go.
Bring it back,
New York,
selector.
go. Go New York, go New York, go. Go
time, my guys. I'm out of here. Catch you Tuesday. We're gonna talk Giants. Hopefully, Giants get that win against the Saints. Hope thought looks good. Let's go. Peace.